Welcome to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Gentleman, the podcast that deals with the early life of J.R. Hendrick. And now, narrating for this episode, the contract is J.R. and Jimmy. September 19th, 7 a.m. Sensing my need for Jennifer Bowers at my side, I'm about to have a special family dinner with Mike Fields and Uncle Carl. This is a family dinner at Casims, a restaurant on the other side of Lubbock University College. We didn't have but 20 minutes of dinner when Charlie Nation walks up. So, there we are. My favorite Hendrick. With a sweet mate. With a bunch of egomaniacs. What has it been telling you? You slip knots. I got it from the table and walked towards him with my fist out. Charlie, why is it every time that you come around and get a major gathering, you're always out there picking for slugfest? You're the one being an ass. Next thing you know, my fist and my cane are up in the air. And Mike Fields, sensing Charlie's sports injury, stops in. Steps in to keep us from destroying one another. Nation, you have a lot of guts picking a fight with JR from a wheelchair. Do you have any shame? Mike Field argues. This is supposed to be a special party for JR, making it to junior status and having a public affairs major. Charlie, now get the hell out of here. At the same time, back in the dorm room, Elizabeth Marie calls Dave Smith. Oddly enough, she didn't call asking to talk to me. She got called asking to talk to him. Unbeknownst to JR, the two had begun a friendship around the time that JR was suspended from the swim team. September 20th. 8 a.m. Time for strangers. Christine called me to tell me that Daddy was working with conservative Republicans about the contract with Kamerica up in Scranton, Pennsylvania. And she also said she heard that Elizabeth Marie and Dave Smith were helping Brent Clark with the election. Elizabeth Marie also got on the phone with me, and she was considering telling Daddy what she heard about the fight with Charlie Nation last night, that it was uncalled for. 10:20 a.m. Intro to Public Affairs class dealt with Dean Settee teaching, as Dr. Harmon had to present at Tennessee Tech University, and Friedrich McKay had to teach a political journalism class. Dean Settee asked JR to stay behind a few minutes and talk. And JR thanks him for helping him not be up in his father's games. Dean Settee tells him he knows that JR is involved with Jennifer Bowers, and says that he has good taste. 1 p.m. Central. At the Center for Public Affairs, Brent, Dave, and Elizabeth Marie are on the phone. Elizabeth Marie informs them that as Jim is working with the contract with Kamerica in Pennsylvania. And so Elizabeth Marie gives Brent some ideas for a campaign called Contract with Red Raiders. Brent is hesitant to run, but Dave reassures him he has a chance to win if he lets JR write these speeches. 4 p.m. Dave Smith meets JR at Gordon Hall to go to a Public Affairs Society of America they were talking about JR's athletic suspension, which Dave felt was unfair, and that he might consider having Jim Hendrick and Brent Clark do what they can to rescind the suspension. 5 p.m. Central. Man, I tell you, my parents, Mama's off shopping with friends up in New Orleans, and Daddy's busy doing politics in Pennsylvania. JR said, JR, that's something precisely you should be doing. As well, following your father, at least in that one thing. I was raised to do politics in my neighborhood growing up in Webb Village in Big Spring, Dave Smith said. Okay then. Well, I'm going to go grab pizza. Jennifer Bowers, Larry Thurber. And that girl Charlie needs a rep at the College Republican, so let's go there. 8 p.m. Eastern. In Washington, D.C., in the front lounge of the mansion, Christine is calling Amy Kathleen a dork because she'd rather play Scrabble or study the Bible instead of engaging in political games with her father, with her, like she did with her father. One thing the family had always known, beginning when Christine was age 9, Christine was apt to play those games, almost being like an equal match to her father, Big Jim Hendrick. Christine tells Amy Kathleen that the Clintons are taking away from the economy by promoting his liberal agenda. And even though Amy Kathleen is a diehard conservative, she dares to oblige matching Christine in those political games. Lots of things happening in the next few days. On September 21st, after economics class, Bruce Kinghorn corners me. Several things happen the next few days after the 20th. On the 21st, after economics class, Bruce Kinghorn corners JR, talking to him about Shirley Nation, offering to go to the Dean of Housing to have him removed as being part of JR's living situation. All right, Dr. Kinghorn. And F, listen, my last name may be Hendrick, but I was raised to be a swing gentleman. And that means we fight our own battles. Dr. Craig, Brent's academic advisor, suggests strongly that he run. Surprisingly, with Christine having received an email from JR about Brent's situation. She sent aggressive information from Jim to help along with the campaign. Karen Kreider tries to come back to talk to JR. But she's in a castigating mood about the deal with Shirley Nation. So JR cuts her off. JR's honest with his father, even though he's too busy receiving dispatches from conservative congressmen. Olivia Smith. Marie absconds herself upstairs in the mansion library to call Dave Smith. And JR agrees to keep their relationship a secret. On the 22nd, before heading off to school, Jim gets on to Christine, saying that she's being naive. Okay, the 22nd. Before heading off to school, Jim calls from Pennsylvania getting on to Christine, saying that she's being naive for supporting Brent Amy Kathleen and Christine spar at a high school college debate that day about the contract with America. With Christine taking a libertarian argument. Through Christine and Larry Thurber, JR started receiving some of the inside information about things that were informed him about the conservative revolution and the problems with liberalism in the Clinton administration. One p.m. on September 22nd, Dave Smith invites JR to the Texas Tech fountain for a photo op, in which he promises to send a copy to Elizabeth Marie by fax. She says she can't talk to him tonight because she has to study for a test. 2:30 p.m. Central. Nothing would do, but Dr. Kinghorn had to meet with me in the Center for Public Affairs for a nice little chat. Children Nation giving you any problems? Dr. Kinghorn said. Oh no. The past few days he's been groaning and mumbling under the stretch therapy his sports trainer is putting him under. The real problem is Karen Kreider. She wants me back, but you're with someone else. Jennifer Bowers. I have a dinner date later on today with her. Well, you be sure to focus on your studies a bit more, because you got midterms exams in a few weeks. 3:50 p.m. Eastern. At the baggage claim of Washington International Airport, Jim notices his wife. I see you, pretty lady, Jim says. We've been away from each other for way too long, Betsy said. Come on. We've traveled enough for business. Let's go back to the house and entertain Blake and Katie Carter. They need some encouragement. 7 p.m. Central. In the library, JR and Jennifer about his cousin Elizabeth Marie's interest in Dave Smith. However, Dave Smith, in some ways, was starting to date a woman named Mary Lou Redding. I'm not one for telling secrets, Jared said, while we study. Okay, but I noticed that you have more than just a passing interest in me. You know I've always been interested in you, Jennifer. What I like about you is when you look at a man, it's not about the physical things that count. I have some things to say to you about our relationship, but it's going to take some time. 5:10 a.m. Eastern, September 23rd, in the mansion front lounge at Washington, D.C. Jim is reading the Wall Street Journal, getting ready to return back to work as usual in Washington, D.C. Tomorrow he has been asked to join for one last meeting with Erskine Bowles before the big transition. 5:30 a.m. Eastern. In the front lounge, Betsy comes and sits alongside her husband. I'm sorry I've been so cold. I was just scared from my mother, Betsy said. Well, I'm sorry that I was so callous. I'll make a better effort to help us, Betsy. Help our marriage. We don't have to go to Baton Rouge next weekend if you don't want to. It'll do us good to spend some time away together. Now, in Pennsylvania, Jim had begun to realize how sacred his marriage was to Betsy. Before, he didn't care if he had affairs or a string of affairs. But this time, things were different. He wanted things to be like they were 7 years ago. No affairs and richly happy. "5 a.m. Jim is swimming at the Sibley with Bill Holden. I hear your dude, Charlie, graduates from a wheelchair to a walker today. Maybe his sports injury will teach him not to open up his mouth so much," Bill said. He'll still be down a few more weeks. He's got about 3 weeks in the walker. At least Kevin McDonald is playing for us against Nebraska. "6:30 a.m. Nothing to do, but I decided to go to the Holy Spirit Club to have a breakfast of hard fried eggs and a sandwich with sausage. With some of that gooey yellow cheese. And since they were out of orange juice, grape juice was just as good. My mind kept thinking back to my parents in Washington, D.C. And Grandma was just returned to El Paso after extensive radiation for a few days in Tulsa. She was mad as hell at Uncle Tom and Daddy for separating the family. And another hard truth was I was starting to miss my life on the ranch. So to that point, I thought I might get a group of friends to get together and have a good time on the ranch while my parents were enjoying time in Baton Rouge and Grandma recovering in El Paso. 10 a.m. Central. Christine calls JR at Texas Tech and says that she is sending him via email the information that led up to the conservative contract with America. And JR said he would be back this afternoon to print them up. 11:15 a.m. Central. Mass Media Theory class. Dean Satie made this announcement. Today we are going to be continuing our research into the use and gratification theory of media innovation, and particularly looking at gratuitous sex and violence on television. 3:25 p.m. Central. JR sits in Mass Comm 101 with Kevin McDonald. Sitting there, they discuss this weekend's game against the University of Nebraska. JR said he had a debate tournament tomorrow, so he would be flying to Waco. Dave Smith was already there. 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Betsy arrives at the house of Walt and Amanda Fitzwilliam for the first of many Washington ladies' teas. She tells Amanda that she loves being back in Washington, D.C. with her husband, but she has a hard time trusting him in some ways still. 5:15 p.m. Central. JR is having pizza at the Marketplace Dining Hall with Larry Thurber and his classmate in business, Michael Hall. Larry, a communication studies student who was minoring in business economics, was sharing an economics course with Michael Hall, and together they were talking about missions. 7 p.m. Dave Smith is studying in his room when he gets a call. It's from Elizabeth Marie. So what did Adam do when Eve presented him the forbidden fruit? Elizabeth Marie said, honey, the story is he ate it so that men might be. Hope you enjoy listening to the J.R. Hendrick Texan Night. And gentlemen, if you like what you hear, please subscribe and become a part of the adventure. This is the James Hendrick Empowerment saying, get ready for the rest of the story. It gets interesting from here.